I see far too many people getting stuck on one style of meditation, and subsequently they stop progressing. So I want to do a series of short videos detailing how to meditate in many ways. There are so many types of meditation, and there isn't just one best technique you can do that will guarantee enlightenment so long as you do it long enough. No. In my experience, there are some techniques that are better suited for different types of people and at different moments in their meditation journey. So this first technique I would like to introduce is noting, or labeling as it could be called. And it's a fantastic technique that not enough people know about. So here's a quick primer on what it is, how to do it, and why it can be a major benefit to your path of insight, understanding nature of mind, and developing inner peace. This technique is not the simplest, but once you get it, you realize it has so much versatility and advantages over, say, basic mindfulness. Okay, so we're in our meditation posture, however you like to be, and we're ready to do noting meditation. So what do we do? The first thing to understand about this technique is that it's not a technique in which we're deliberately controlling our attention or directing it, say, unlike with a single pointed concentration technique. So we allow our mind to wander. We allow attention to naturally move around without trying to deliberately control it. So we have a kind of open awareness. And at any one given time, there will be something that is the highlight of our experience, that is in our focused attentional range. And whatever that phenomenon is, we note it by ascribing a label to it, usually with just one word. So for example, I'm sitting in meditation, I hear a sound, and I note sound. And I can say it out loud to myself, or usually we just think it. I just think sound. And then maybe my attention goes to a sensation, and I note sensation. Now, the level of description we want to give to our experience when we're noting is ideally as rudimentary as can be. And a good level of analysis in which to note phenomena is in terms of the senses, right? So that's sight, sound, sensation, smell and taste, and thoughts. And I would add a label for emotions as well, emotions. Now, there are many other types of categories of noting we can do, but as an introduction to begin with, I think it's good to stick with the senses. And it's important to say we're not noting the content of the senses, or the context of why we think we're experiencing that thing. So if there's a sound, I just note sound. I don't say car, for example. Let me just demonstrate the meditation for a moment. So it'd be something like this. Right? So normally I'll do this silently in my head, speak it out loud. It'd be something like sound, sight, sensation, sensation, sight, sound, sight, sensation, sound, sensation, thought, sight. So something like that. As you see, I'm not controlling my attention is free wandering, noticing different phenomena, and I'm noting them as they come up. So what are some of the pros, benefits of this type of meditation? Well, mental labeling is just a great addition to your meditation because it's reinforcing that sense of I really clocked the present moment, what happened, really noticing the phenomena appear, arise, and disappear. It's noting also engages more of your mind. So it prevents dullness in meditation. And it gives that voice in your head something to do in conjunction with the meditation. Rather than be a distraction or a nuisance, now it's part of the meditation, it's included. Noting is one of the best techniques for increasing your metacognition, because you are literally stating what state you are in while it's happening, or at least very close to once it's happened. Noting also helps with objectifying phenomena, and so you take them less personally, and this is particularly helpful during certain difficult stages during the dark night. Noting also has the potential to radically increase your noticings per second. So how quickly can you notice phenomena appear and disappear in the mind? When we first start noting, you may just do, 1 or 2 notes every 10 seconds. But as you become more proficient in this technique, you begin to note faster and faster and faster, and to the point where you're making multiple notes per second. And then eventually even you may be noting so fast there isn't time to use a label, in which case you have to drop the label and switch to a technique called noticing, in which you're still keeping up that metacognition and that recognition and the noticing of the phenomena appear and disappear, but you're so fast, you're so switched on, that there's no time for the label now. Yeah. However, in the beginning, I recommend stick with the labeling. Don't drop that too soon. Don't try to run before you can walk. And don't try to, push yourself faster than you can, because that will do you a disservice in the long run. Slowly build up to that. But you really want to keep a kind of acknowledgement in the mind of what's happening in any one given moment. And only you know whether you've really got that going or not, or whether you're dropping it, you're kind of rushing the labeling without having the sort of the higher order awareness that comes along with this practice. And something special about noting, unlike many other techniques, is it links your verbal languaging faculties with meditative insights, thus making you better at describing your experience and becoming a better phenomenologist. So if you're someone who wants to participate in conversations of consciousness and describing its properties or how phenomena function and all these things, then this technique is for you. Okay, I want to mention some resistance that might come up to doing this technique that a lot of people encounter. Many people describe not being a fan of this technique in the beginning because it feels quite effortful, quite forced, and it's very thinky. And they say it can agitate their mind. And really, the reason here is they could be noting too fast, and so it doesn't calm them out. And there's this thought that meditation should be, effortless and calming. And you do want to strike a good balance between feeling calm but also feeling mentally awake. And noting can stir up the mind in the beginning because you're using your brain in a way that you're not used to using it. So it's worth noting there's a learning curve to this, and I recommend to slowly ease into it. Don't note too fast in the beginning. But also, not all meditation should be effortless. There is really a time to bear down and put in a lot of mental effort in meditation, and then you can learn a lot that way. Some of the particular limitations of this technique is, it is a very doing technique, and it does reinforce that sense of a meditator. So, I am here meditating, I'm doing a technique. And a lot of people have that identification with their voice in their head, their thoughts. And so this can prop up that sense of self in that way, which is not always a bad thing. But at some point, you want to drop this technique. It's not a non-dual technique. It's, in fact, sort of quite the opposite, because it's literally categorizing and partitioning your world by adding these labels. Eventually, If you're deep enough in the non-dual, everything's non-dual, and this can be included as well. But there may be a time in your practice actually where you've built up the metacognition, you've got fast enough notings per second, and now you can drop the noting and go to a more non-dual type of practice. But you've built up the strength in those other cognitive faculties and are going to carry you along. So that's noting in a nutshell. And I highly, highly recommend this technique. It may not be your cup of tea in the beginning, but I suggest really stick with it, give it a good run for its money. It gets easier. Your metacognition will increase. Your noticings per second will get faster and faster, and you'll be able to have so many more insights, notice so much more about the mind, and you'll be surprised how it can bolster your progress. If you have any questions about this technique, you can reach me on my website where I'm available for one-on-one coaching, and I'll help you answer any questions you might have about meditation, try to pick out your blind spots, see where your leading working edges, and help you move forward, and suggest many other techniques. Also, if you're interested in learning a variety of meditation techniques, I have a plethora of guided meditations on my Patreon page, and every week I'm releasing new meditation, and those meditations they're long, they're detailed, they're creative, and I'm really trying to help people develop their mind in a well-rounded way, so not just sticking with one style, but spicing things up. So thank you very much, and take care of yourself. Goodbye.